we tried out in the Udaipur jail for the last 2 years that rather than taking a Bana set curriculum syllabus to teach the inmates, we started asking them their interests. And we also started finding out that there's so many talented, skilled people in the jail who are in the jail university. Many of them are our faculty, and they're teaching other inmates things like music or computers and dance and art and organic farming and all kinds of things. So I wanted to work because these people have been labeled as the worst in the society, and I want to show that the people are not the worst. It's the system that is the worst, that labels people and throws them away. But every human being has talents. We need to change the system radically, or we need to dump the system radically and start building systems that, based on what we have. So many brilliant thinkers in India, Gandhi, as I mentioned, Gandhiji and Tagore, and so we've been inspired by many of their ideas, and we built the systems based on our own Indian philosophy of Shiksha.
Right.
So I have a few questions. Thank you.
Yeah, the first question for you would be, what according to you is the purpose of attaining life?
Yeah, so obviously in India, the question would be, the usual answer is to figure out who we are and why we're here, right? The purpose of and this is the fundamental for any real system of Shiksha. Who am I? Why am I here? What is my purpose? That has to be at the center of any process of real education, what we used to call Shiksha. But for me, at least, I am a firm believer in what I call the gift culture, that learning and living are all interconnected, and we are here to mutually build the consciousness of the universe, as co-create the consciousness. And we do that not by hoarding knowledge or by trying to show we are bigger than others. The more we share, the purpose of our life, at least I figured, is to share. And by sharing, the secret of the universe is that I start receiving and understanding and getting much more things. So this idea that, no, I have to show that I'm number one, or I have to accumulate all this knowledge for myself, I don't think this is the purpose. I think the purpose is really to share. And the more we share our gifts freely, the more that life evolves and the consciousness of the universe evolves.
True, very true. Now, the next question is again another very tricky question, but I'm sure you want an answer for it. It says, what if Earth asks us why we have come?
Yeah. I think that's a great question.
Yeah.
The Earth should ask us that today. And I think the way to get the answer to that is we have a process. We do many creative processes, unlearning processes. So what I would argue is that the school has damaged us deeply. And so all these unlearning processes, I've tried us out on myself, but I'll give you a couple examples. One is called the nature quest. So you can go out in nature, in any jungle, and go with only a little bit of water, fast in the jungle, and ask this question: what is Earth asking us to do? What does nature want from me? What do the birds want from me? What do the trees? Ask them. You can literally talk to them and ask them, and sit there for 48 hours alone. All kinds of answers will start coming for you. Another thing, obviously, many of you know about Vipassana type of things. So again, taking this question and doing a 10-day silent meditation, you'll start getting all kind of answers from the Earth. The third example I'd give you is we do something called the cycle yatra. So we send people for 10 days in villages, a group of 20 young people, and nobody has any money with them. Nobody has any food with them. Nobody has any smartphone or technology with them. Nobody has any medicine with them, and nobody has any plan with them. And you go for 10 days, and the Earth will start giving you all kinds of answers to this question. So many kinds of these kinds of journeys. The problem is right now, the formal factory education system fills all the time up. It doesn't give us time of silence, or what I call, it doesn't give us time to do nothing. Actually, we found in Swaraj University that doing nothing, a lot of things are happening. So we are big believers in doing nothing And lots of things, if you create empty space, a lot of things start growing out of that space.
True. Okay, now the next question are, what are the perfect guidelines to follow by the world to educate children and make them ready for the future? I think you've already spoken, but maybe you could speak about your 3 C's. I watched your YouTube video. Your 3 C's was really amazing. So I think your answer, the 3 C's, works perfectly. But anyway, I leave it to you. The question I would repeat once again.
Agarika, you're behind. There's 6 C's now. So I can tell you there's 2 things. First, the thing is that first thing is, don't go with some ready-made thing to impose on the child. So more than what to do is what not to do is important to think. And I think if we start understanding that again, many new things will come. So don't go with a ready-made imposition. Okay, you have to learn this, and push it on the child. The first, I would say, crime that the school does against children is nobody ever asks the learner, what do you want to learn? Everything is ready to impose on the learner, but how can we have a society of creative thinkers, free thinkers, loving, empathetic thinkers if we never ask people what they're interested, what's on their mind, what they're curious about, what they want to learn? So I think that's the first thing. In terms of the 6 C's, there's 6 C's of the formal system, which I think are the 6 sins of education. One is compulsion. So all of these 6 C's are the things that kill real learning. So compulsion, forcing people to do things that they don't want to do, is really is anti-learning. So you can see the entire formal factory system is forcing children to read this, do this, study this, without ever asking them what they're excited about. And if you look deeply in the Guru Shishya Parampara, there was never compulsion there. I can elaborate on this if there's interest, but the idea was around mutuality, not compulsion. Mutual agreement between the Guru and the Shishya. And each Shishya the Guru would design with the Shishya a different program for learning. The second C is competition. So to move from competition to collaboration is what we would talk about. The third C is commodification. So this idea that knowledge is a business, knowledge is something to be bought and sold, and that you pay money. In our tradition, again, Guru Shishya Parampara Shiksha tradition, you never paid money for education. This is a totally corrupted system. In fact, the Guru would actually pay you, take care of you if he accepted you, or she accepted you. The third C is, I said 3. The fourth C is compartmentalization. That we see knowledge in these compartmental disciplines. The problem with this is that all of these compartmental disciplines are not actually life. Life is always holistic. And we don't know how to, then we take it all apart, but we don't know how to put it together. So how to see and understand holistic. So from fragmented disciplines, fragmented thinking to holistic thinking is what we have to build those systems around. The fifth C is around certification. So we have to move out of a centralized body certifying to people and communities looking at competencies and supporting people like we do. Like we don't look at the plumber or the electrician. We never ask them, what's your certificate or degree? We look at their competency. So from certification to actually real skill and competency. And the last C is monoculture. So what we have right now is a standardized system. So everything, standardized examination, standardized syllabus, everything. So to move out of a standardized system to actually a customized system, and looking at each, like the syllabus of a desert area and a village and a syllabus of a fishing village should be totally different, because we need to customize according to both the learner, the community, and the ecosystem they live in. Only then will we have a system that creates harmony. When we talk about Swaraj, some people have said rule over the self, self-rule. I see Swaraj as harmony of the self, harmony of ourself. How do we create this harmony? Only then can we find real happiness in life.
Very true. And I actually wanted the audience to hear about your these C's, and hence I brought it up. Well, I think the last question you've already answered while answering the previous question, that is, do you believe a degree is just a piece of paper and real life applications is more important?
Yeah, I think that the degree is actually a useless piece of paper. Only I would add the word useless in front of that. And it doesn't measure anything. More and more CEOs of companies and organizations are actually realizing. It's interesting that in the, what was it, 68, I think, 1968 or 67, the Ramamurthy Commission actually said we should get rid of, delink degrees from the education process and the hiring process. So they also, even in 1968, they recognized degrees as a useless thing. And as you see in the next 5 years, radical changes. The degree is going to become so useless because of online learning, badges. Many companies are going to have their own internal examination systems and to test people, because the degrees are not serving them at all. They're not getting good people with degrees. It's not a good way. And up to now, the degree has primarily been a filter. So I think the artificial intelligence and computers are going to create more effective filters, and you'll see degrees disappearing. The value of degrees will become more and more lost in the next 5 to 10 years.
Wonderful. So with that, I think, Manish, we would end today's session. But before we end, it's a request in the chat box. Kindly key in your coordinates so that our audience could get in touch with you.